Imagine a modern lifestyle apparel brand. On paper, they have a solid product, but in reality, they are fighting for survival. Their supply chain is gridlocked, and their target audience is entirely disengaged. The breakdown starts at the factory level. By relying entirely on overseas manufacturing, the brand faces severe shipping delays. Product launches consistently miss their seasonal windows, and the physical distance creates a disconnect between the brand's stated values and its actual production methods. On the retail shelf, the problem compounds. They opted for a muted, low-saturation color palette for their packaging and apparel. When a consumer walks past, these generic visuals fail to catch the eye, eliminating any chance of an impulse purchase at the point of sale. This visualization shows the brand's marketing deficit. They rely heavily on dense text to explain their apparel's technical features, but data shows consumers retain only 10% of text-based messaging. When that same information is delivered through video, retention jumps to 95%. To reverse this decline, incremental tweaks will not work. The brand has to completely restructure where they source their materials, how they design their packaging, and the medium they use to communicate with their buyers. The logistical fix begins by pulling production back to the United States. Reshoring the supply chain removes the dependency on volatile trans-Pacific shipping routes. This flowchart compares the old timeline with the new one. Instead of waiting months for massive bulk overseas orders, the brand shifts to domestic microfactories. Using 3D prototyping and on-demand manufacturing, they can produce minimum order quantities of just 50 to 100 pieces, creating a tight circular loop that responds instantly to market trends. Printing "Made in the USA" on the tag requires strict legal compliance. The Federal Trade Commission monitors these labels to ensure accuracy. Under FTC rules, final assembly must occur on U.S. soil, and the majority of manufacturing costs must go toward U.S. parts. Meeting these requirements guarantees an ethical labor baseline, ensuring workers operate in safe conditions with fair wages. A resilient, ethical supply chain ensures the product actually reaches the shelf. But a well-made shirt will stay on that shelf if the physical presentation fails to grab a buyer's attention. The visual overhaul relies on a documented psychological trigger. The intensity of a color directly influences how a product performs in the market. The brand pivots to highly saturated, vivid colors for both their apparel and their packaging. This graphic illustrates how consumers interpret visual intensity. When shoppers see high levels of saturation, deep blues, vibrant greens, or vivid reds, their brains subconsciously equate that visual strength with physical potency. Researchers tested this by placing hand sanitizer in university lecture halls. When the sanitizer was tinted with highly saturated colors, students would actually dispense less of the product. They subconsciously believed the intense color meant the liquid was stronger and required a smaller dose. In retail settings, this same psychology drives sales. When consumers look at brightly colored laundry detergent bottles, they are more likely to purchase them because the bold packaging acts as a visual promise that the soap will clean more effectively. Saturation captures the eye and implies quality, but it is ultimately a subconscious cue. To actively persuade a buyer to trust a new brand, the company needs a structured narrative. The brand replaces their ineffective, text-heavy marketing with video. Specifically, they deploy a structured case study video that shows a clear before and after transformation. To keep viewers watching until the end, these videos follow strict execution rules. The absolute maximum runtime is capped at 3 minutes. Any longer, and viewer retention begins to drop off sharply. This timeline breaks down the exact pacing used to hold audience attention. It uses the STAR framework: situation, task, actions, and result. These beats are allocated in a strict 2:1 to 5:1 time ratio, ensuring the majority of the video focuses on how the problem was actually solved. During production, directors avoid having clients read word-for-word scripts. Instead, they provide short bullet points on set. This keeps the interview conversational, natural, and free of dense industry jargon. By applying this disciplined, timed framework to a real customer success story, the brand guides passive scrollers through a logical progression, turning them into emotionally invested buyers. After implementing these changes, the brand's metrics shift entirely. Click-through rates jump to 8 times higher than before, and direct replies quadruple. This improvement relies on 3 specific pillars working in sequence: They secured their logistics with domestic manufacturing. They captured attention through highly saturated color design, and they engaged their audience with a highly structured video narrative. Modern influence requires a compounding stack of disciplines. A reliable factory ensures existence, color psychology ensures attention, and storytelling drives the sale. To succeed today, you must systematically engineer trust at every level of the process, from the factory floor to the final frame of the video.